Hello, welcome back to Al's Vinyl Collection. Today I've got another vinyl review for you. As always, we are carrying on through my collection, which if you're new, I have organised my vinyl collection alphabetically by artist and then chronologically by the release date of their studio albums. So I'm currently working through the first artist in my collection, who's acdc. Last review was Highway to Hell, and of course to follow Highway to Hell, we have acdc's best-selling album of all time and the second highest selling album ever, Back in Black. A beautiful, beautiful album, a beautiful, beautiful tribute and a work of art. That's all there is to say about this LP already. So again, there's not going to be a whole lot to talk about with some portions of this review, but we're going to talk about as much as we can. So today I have a 2003 remaster of the original 1980 LP. I'm going to remove the plastic sleeve and we'll have a look at the artwork. This is one of the most minimalistic LP covers and album covers I have ever seen, but it is one of my favorites as well. Firstly, one thing to note, I haven't had this on a lot of LPs, and you can see it on the camera. The camera's picking it up quite nicely. You can I don't know if it's because it's plain black or what, but you can see the outline of the actual disc, and I love that. I think that's really cool. So Back in Black, there isn't a whole lot to say about the artwork. We have the logo, but it's just slightly raised. All the text on this LP is just slightly raised. It's black with the white outlines. Well, they're inside lines really, the white inlines, I suppose. And obviously it's black for mourning, it's black for respect. And that makes complete sense, and that's wonderful. The Back in Black, again, no outlines, no shadow, just very slightly raised Back in Black, almost quite hard to see. The spine says Back in Black printed, and the back of the cover, again, very, very, very minimalistic. Just the track listing, no photos, credits, none. Other than produced by Robert John Mutt Lange. We never got to the bottom of that one. I know I'm recording this straight off the back of Highway to Hell, and I still don't know how to say the name, but it is this gorgeous, very, very minimalistic cover, rightfully so. So let's have a look at the inside sleeve. As this is a 2003 remaster, there is, of course, a printed card insert. And it's lovely that this is all in black and white to keep with the theme of the LP. There is, firstly, there are liner notes here, credits, lots of credits. Very interesting, actually. I'm just seeing on the credits here, all titles, Angus Young, Malcolm Young, Brian Johnson. After finishing Brian Johnson's book, The Lives of Brian, which I would highly recommend. I was fortunate enough to get a signed copy and read it. It's incredible. Brian actually suggested that, well, not even suggested, Brian said that he was given a list of track names and had to write lyrics for the tracks, just going off the names. So that's rather interesting that he's credited for all titles. I wonder if they mean within all titles as in just the whole song, because obviously Brian wrote all the lyrics for the songs. So we have some great photos here, obviously quite a few of the Back in Black tour. There wouldn't be a whole lot of material for them to go off. With Brian having just joined the band, and then we've got some photos here, presumably, no, that's live. I was about to say presumably from the video recording sessions, but that's not the case. Brian's here wearing an acdc t-shirt, whereas he wears the classic 87 jersey. In those music videos, a very, very, very famous and very cool t-shirt. So let's have a look at the disc. Again, you already know what to expect. Although Nope, this one has even more. I was going to say it's got even more dust on. I was going to say this looks quite clean, but it doesn't. In fact, this one is one of the... I should clean these before I do these reviews, huh? But maybe... No, I'm going to do a video cleaning them. I said as a joke. In the Highway to Hell review, I said, as a joke, I'm going to make a video cleaning my records. And you know what? It's not even a joke anymore. I'm going to get my records and I'm going to sit there for a video and just talk to you about stuff and clean my records. So you've seen these discs already. We probably don't need to touch on this. It's just the 180 gram vinyl, black vinyl as always, with the red printed logo and just back in black. So let's talk about the track listing, talk about some favourites, some of the songs I perhaps don't like as much. That's a joke, by the way, because I don't know how you could not like any of the songs on this album. I'm going to tell you right now, this album's a 10 out of 10. You know this, I know this. Back in Black is obviously a 10 out of 10. There is not one song on this album that I dislike, not one that I wouldn't go back and listen to. I frequently listen to this song, a lot. What is interesting to note, though, actually, is that the track listing is wrong on the back of this LP, and I don't know why. I don't know why. I'm not sure who made the decision to do that. It's a really odd decision. I'm very quickly just going to pull up the original track listing. I've just got it here on my PC, just so we can compare these. So the track listing on this LP says Back in Black, Hell's Bells, Shoot to Thrill, Give 'Em the Dog a Bone, What Do You Do for Money, Honey, Rock and Roll Ain't Noise Pollution, Let Me Put My Love Into You, You Shook Me All Night Long, Shake a Leg, and Have a Drink on Me. Now the original track listing, the actual track listing that is Hell's Bells, Shoot to Thrill, What Do You Do for Money, Honey, Give 'Em the Dog a Bone, Let Me Put My Love Into You, Back in Black, You Shook Me All Night Long, Have a Drink on Me, Shake a Leg, and Rock and Roll Ain't Noise Pollution. So I don't know why they're in a different order, but I'm going to talk through the songs in this order. We'll talk about them and we'll discuss them. Back in Black, arguably one of the most famous songs ever, and just looking at Spotify, it is probably one of their most popular songs on Spotify. Back in Black has 1.1 billion plays, which is absolutely crazy. In fact, that is not their most popular song. How is that the case? They have 3 songs with over 1 billion streams. That's Highway to Hell, Back in Black, and Thunderstruck. That's incredible. That's incredible. What a band. What a band to have that many streams. So Back in Black is one of the best rock songs. Brian's vocals are incredible in this song. Brian's vocals as a whole are incredible. He did talk quite a bit in his book about the recording process of this album, and he was saying that Mutt, we're just going to call him Mutt to avoid having to use the last name situation here. Mutt was pushing him to go higher and higher, and he said the first time he listened to this LP, he kind of ran over to his friend's house, the only friend he knew who had a record player, and listened to it. And his friend, I believe he said after hearing Hell's Bells, turned it off and said, you're singing far too high, no one's going to listen to that. And they went to the pub, which obviously is not a bad thing, and it never was a bad thing given that this is the second best-selling album ever. But Back in Black is almost like a rap song, you know. It's great lyrical content, especially to kind of hit back after what happened with Bon, and to come back as a band. It's to say we're back with this powerhouse band is an incredible song, and it's got one of my favourite guitar solos of all time as well. And then it's also got one of my favourite live sections. After the guitar solo, you've got that little breakdown, and Angus kind of, when playing it live, Angus starts to duck walk, but instead of duck walking, he just starts like kicking his leg out, and it's incredible. I love it. I think it's so fun to watch. Hell's Bells is such a beautiful song, and as so many people do, I absolutely adore the bell tolling in the intro. I think it's incredible, and Brian again talked about this in his book. He said that he was having trouble writing Hell's Bells, and I believe it was Mutt who helped him write it. He came in and sat down, and there was they recorded this album in the Bahamas, and he said that there was a tropical storm coming in, and it gave him the idea for I think it was either Brian or Mutt who said, I think it was Mutt who said it's rolling thunder, and then that's where the lyrical content started with, I'm rolling thunder, and then I'm pouring rain, I'm coming on like a hurricane. It's all kind of imagery taken from what was actually going on at the time. My lightning's flashing across the sky, and then you've got this, you're only young but you're going to die, and then kind of bringing it back into Hell's Bells. But Hell's Bells is a great song, and it feels quite fitting. The bell tolling, for it to be the opening song of the LP, the bell tolling does feel like a nice salute and a nice mark of remembrance to Bon. So Shoot to Thrill. Now, Shoot to Thrill is again one of the most popular songs, probably due to its feature in Iron Man 2. I know lots of people know it from Iron Man 2. I love, as with If You Want Blood, You've Got It, I absolutely love Malcolm's rhythm part in this song. It's so addictive. The tone is so clean, but it's just an earworm, and you hear Malcolm's tone and you want to hear more of it. He's such an incredible rhythm player, and then the lyrical content is great. I love the line, all you women who want a man on the street, and then you've got the pre-chorus, I'm going to take you down, and then the chords that support it, and then you've got this, I don't know which chord it is that Angus plays when he says, I'm going to pull it, and they pull the trigger before the chorus. It's this gorgeous chord that felt really irregular to play on guitar. Even just kind of thinking about where it's being played, it could possibly be, it could be, I don't know actually. I can't remember how to play it. So Shoot to Thrill is a very fun song. It's fun until it gets really, really, really fun, in my opinion, with the guitar solo. This song goes from kind of being like, oh, cool, Shoot to Thrill, Play to Kill, all of this, and it's a bit of head bobbing, and then you get to this guitar solo, and then the outro solo, and it's like I can feel my brain actually melting right now. The guitar solo is so addictive to listen to. Both the kind of, it's almost like an instrumental going into a guitar solo. So you've got the when Brian says, I'm going to pull the trigger, and then you've got a little bit where Malcolm and Angus are playing roughly the same thing, but then Angus goes into this guitar solo, quite a short one actually. It's only maybe about 8 bars long. It's not very long, but it's so much fun to listen to. He gradually gets higher and higher on the fretboard, and it's just so much fun to listen to. I know I said this when I reacted to Shoot to Thrill live at River Plate, but it goes from this solo to then a really, and on the album it's even gentler than it is live. It goes from being a heavy rock song to suddenly really soft, kind of like really kind of groovy. I hate the word groovy, to be honest with you. It's this really gentle section that's just so lovely to listen to, and then Malcolm slowly comes in, and then you've got Brian kind of ad-libbing over it, and it's a palate cleanser before you come in to an outro of an incredible song, because the outro is really heavy, and Angus kind of just lets loose, and it's really fun to listen to. But you go from guitar solo to then feeling a bit eased out again, to then another guitar solo, which is the absolute best way to do it. Giving the Dog a Bone is a really fun song. I love the build-up. Again, a lot of these songs have really good build-up, but I love the intro to Giving the Dog a Bone. Obviously the lyrics are very suggestive. It was quite awkward going to see the band live with Axl in 2016. With family and hearing that song being played, but we all love the band, so it doesn't matter. But it's a great song. It's a really fun song. What Do You Do for Money, Honey? I love the intro. I love the 2 chords being played, and then you get a little riff from Angus. So you've got in unison Angus and Malcolm playing these 2 really hard hitting chords, and then you've got Angus coming down, and then you've got this descending riff for the whole song. In the verses, you've got this lovely descending riff that Brian also sings along with, and then the chorus, having the backing vocals come in. Cliff and Malcolm make an amazing team with the backing vocals. They build up this amazing foundation to the vocal performances on the track, let's say. And I love it. I love the honey, what do you do for money? And then you've got the little the fast little section where Brian's saying, what do you do for money, honey? How do you get your kicks? How do you get your licks? And I love that. It's almost a little bit like rap, like with Back in Black. I'm not a rap fan. I don't enjoy rap really. I've never listened to rap really. So it's probably not fair to say I don't like it then, but it is quite hard and fast and not quite what you'd expect from a rock song, in a great way. Rock and Roll Ain't Noise Pollution is the best album closer this album could have had. Again, there is slight build up, but almost like Night Prowler, this song is very bluesy and it's very soft. We start with a really soft intro, which goes on for about 2 minutes. And I love Brian's talking over it, and I love that you can hear him taking a drag of a cigarette at the start. And Phil does a really gentle, just gently touches the ride cymbal, and I think it sounds incredible. It's a really fun song, and then you've got Brian with the "Hail You Middlemen," and then it starts into this kind of bluesy, almost it almost has a bit like a 12-bar blues riff that they're playing. It almost sounds like it could belong in the 50s, in a good way, in a very good way. I love 50s music, so it's a real compliment. I mean that in a real complimentary way. But Rock and Roll Ain't Noise Pollution is a great song, and again that title derives from Bon Scott. I believe Bon said in an interview, "Rock and Roll Ain't Noise Pollution." So that's where it came from. But it's a great anthem for rock. Let Me Put My Love Into You is a different vibe. Again, it's not. This one isn't as such a build up. Obviously, the drums do come in. When the drums come in, it really kind of solidifies the song as being a hard hitting rock song. The intro is quite gentle until then, but the guitars and the bass, the bass in every AC/DC song remains the same anyway. It's good. I mean, Cliff's an amazing bass player, but mostly every bass line in AC/DC is just the same notes being repeated 300 times, which is fine. It's a backbone. That's what it is, isn't it? Really, the drums and the bass and the rhythm guitar, they're a backbone. They're a structure they're a foundation for Angus and Brian to sit upon. But Let Me Put My Love Into You is a great song. It's got some great lyrics. It's got some fun lyrics. I love the lyrics at the start. They're driving on a free flight. I think that's a really cool. I love Brian's voice. He's just come from Geordie, and you can hear it. Even though Mutt asked him and made him to sing higher and with more drive, he is still in this album. He's still very bluesy. He's still very. If you compare Back in Black to The Razor's Edge, they are almost like 2 different people. As Brian's voice developed, it became so distorted. It's great. It's all an amazing vocal technique he's using. But as his voice aged, there was so much more drive that was added to his voice and distortion that was added to his voice. And it's nice. It's refreshing to hear these early albums where there is not really any of that. But Let Me Put My Love Into You is a great song. You Shook Me All Night Long is probably one of the most iconic rock songs. I think you'd be hard-pressed, like Highway to Hell, like Back in Black, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find someone who doesn't know the song from the chorus, even if they don't know the artist or the song name. I think you can play the chorus if You Shook Me All Night Long to a lot of people, and somewhere they will have heard it. This is an incredible song from start to finish. The intro is reminiscent of something from earlier decades. It sounds so old but so fresh at the same time. It's really hard to put it into words, but it's a great intro. It's a real contrast, and unlike some of these songs, this feels like a really steady song. Some of these songs on this album are a little bit faster, but You Shook Me All Night Long has a really driving backbone with the drums and the bass. And it's nice. Well, actually, I say drums and the bass, but really it's just the drums and Angus to start with. Malcolm comes in a little bit down the line, and I believe Cliff might come in with him down the line. This is the first song that Brian wrote for the album. Brian apparently was having a really hard time and writing, as he says in his book, and Malcolm was coming to him asking if he had any lyrics, and was saying, don't worry, just do your best, just write what comes to you. And Brian started writing really about cars and saying, she's a fast machine, she kept the motor clean, and I think they are some of the coolest lyrics. And I think this guitar solo as well is one of my favourite AC/DC guitar solos ever. I love the first half. There are definitely two sections to this solo, and it's really hard. As a guitarist, I can visualize them, but it's hard to describe them. Basically, one end's on one end of the fretboard, and the second half is on the other end of the fretboard. But you can hear Angus slides up the fretboard halfway through the guitar solo. So if that's a way, if you listen to it and you hear him going up the fretboard as the notes get higher, that's what I mean by part one and part two. But yeah, I think this song, the melody at the end as well. You know what? It's really. I said I wouldn't play any songs, but I'm going to play maybe like 5 seconds snippets of these, because there are parts that I need to demonstrate. Because there is a vocal melody. There's not a vocal melody. There is a vocal technique Brian uses at the end of the song when he says "You shook me all night long." It's such an incredible. It adds so much contrast. It changes it from being a one-note song, and not a literal one-note song. But if you come out of the solo and you have a minute of just "You shook me all night long, you shook me all night long, you shook me all night long," with the chorus, it would get so repetitive. But Brian comes in and he brings this variation through an amazing melody. His voice is being pushed to its limits, and then he is somehow breaking through those limits. I don't understand how he did it, but it's amazing. Shake a Leg is another, like Giving the Dog a Bone is a really fast song, and it's a really fun song. This is a really fast song. The riff to Shake a Leg is really cool, but thankfully it's not as fast. The lyrical deliverance, the vocal deliverance, isn't as fast as it is with Back in Black, which I think is good. So whilst the instrumentation may be faster, the vocal deliverance is still a nice speed. But that's, Shake a Leg is a really fun song. And Have a Drink on Me is one of my favourite AC/DC songs of all time, really. I don't think there's anywhere, any other way to put it. Brian lists off all forms of, all forms of alcohol. We've got Hell to Pay is such a fun line. And I love the intro. It's not even the intro. It's the whole guitar, the whole guitar part, the guitar line. I love it. I love how it starts with just Angus, and then slowly we get the other instruments coming in. It's an incredible song. I would put it in my top 3. If I had to choose a top 3 for this album, which is really hard, I would say my favourite song from this album is You Shook Me All Night Long. I would say my second favourite is Have a Drink on Me, and a third favourite song, you know what? I'd say Rock and Roll Ain't Noise Pollution probably is. Just looking at it as a whole song, I think it's a great song. In order of favourites, it will probably be You Shook Me All Night Long, Have a Drink on Me, Rock and Roll Ain't Noise Pollution, Shoot to Thrill, What Do You Do for Money, Honey, Back in Black, Hell's Bells, Let Me Put My Love Into You, and Giving the Dog a Bone, and Shake a Leg. Again, though, with other AC/DC albums, there have been songs that I wouldn't go back to on the listen, on like a second listen, third listen, fourth listen. I would go back to every song on this album. I think this album is a gem. It is incredible. There isn't a bad thing for me to say about it. I can't look at this album and tell you I don't like this, I don't like that, because it's not true. So Back in Black, of course. You know what? I'm going to break my own rules. Back in Black's an 11 out of 10. Back in Black is one of the best albums anyone will ever listen to, and I love it so much. Thank you for checking out my review. I'm still trying to find my feet with these, so if there's something you want to hear about an album, if there's something you want me to include in these reviews, let me know. If there's a song you want to hear reacted to, I do reactions too, so just drop it in the comments and I'll do it. I'll react to it, I'll give it a listen. I especially like stuff I've not listened to before. If you like the video, feel free to give it a little thumbs up. It would help me out. It helps me gauge if I'm doing something right with the content or if I'm doing something wrong, and you know, if I need to make some changes to make this the best viewing experience for you guys. And if you fancy subscribing, again, you don't have to, but I would greatly appreciate it. But hey, we're all here to chill. We're all in this ride together. Thank you so much for checking out my review. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you for the next LP, which is For Those About to Rock, We Salute You.